Awesome. Here we go. Thank you so much for clicking, watching, commenting, everything that you're about to do. I work in education, and one of the things that I have learned, unfortunately, is that we are a reactionary field. We tend to wait for things to happen and then react to them after they happen. There is a large group of people, teachers, administrators, aides, coaches, librarians across the country and across the world that are jumping into AI and what it can do for our students, how our students can use it, not just be consumers of it, but producers and makers. And one of the goals of not only this video, but hopefully a continuing process with this weekly kind of thing is to grow together. I am not an expert. I will say that from the very beginning. I jumped on a little bit late. My role has changed. I'm no longer in the classroom except for one class. I'm an administrator now, and so I don't have as much time to experiment with a lot of tools that I previously had time and the kind of gutso to go explore. This is something though that I think will change the face of education. And what I want to do is create a story and a group of people that care deeply about this and talk about it and learn from it and share from it. And they don't just hold it in. And so the long-term goal of this is to bring guests on to talk about it, to talk with you. If you're a teacher, what are some prompts that you've using, or what are things that you're learning, or what are you trying to put it all into one place so that we can have a collective kind of idea instead of all just trying to do the same thing in different places or at different times. So one of the things, and I'll be clear right up front, right? So I've paid for some things. I've paid for ChatGPT version 4. I've been on the waiting list for Bard and Bing and all sorts of other things. What I want to do today is just kind of go over the basics and answer questions if they come, and just explore and learn. I think about it was 2010, 2011. I was a first or a second year teacher, and I had all these iMacs in my room, daisy chained together. And I remember the first time all of my kids, my students, got on a Google Doc at the same time, right? And it's the same thing that happens today. They're all deleting each other's words and highlighting and bolding and moving stuff around and changing fonts. But it was just amazing. I was projecting my screen up on the projector, and all the kids were in the document, and they were there, like live in the document, working together. And now I look at what it is, and it's become this worldwide phenomenon and tool. And then Microsoft jumped on with Microsoft Teams, and then all of these other companies and startups kind of started creating that. And so I have a feeling this is going to be the same thing. To look where we were 5 months ago and where we are now with some of these tools and some of these programs and software, it's amazing. I can't even imagine where we're going to be in 5 years. So I want to jump in right now. So the first thing we're going to talk about, obviously, is just kind of artificial intelligence in the basic form. Think about your phone, think about your Alexa, Siri, your Google, whatever that is. That's a form of artificial intelligence. You talk into it, it spits something back out to you, right? You ask for information, it gives it back to you. Most of those AIs or those tools are gathering information from other places verbatim. What's the weather today? It's going to be X, Y, and Z. There's no really like machine learning to that. Now they're starting to get better, right? They're starting to gather information. They're starting to rewrite language. And that's what the craziest part about a lot of these are, is they're learning from themselves and from humans and from the inputs. And so when we talk about prompts and generating prompts or prompt libraries, those are popping up all over the place. I see people, I mean, Alice Keeler just posted 100 prompts to help teachers. I've seen some for administrators. I've seen some. So we're going to go through a couple prompts. But what I also want to talk about is some of the tools that are out there that are going to just change the game in reality, right? And some of them are just better versions of what we already had. And I really want to create a discussion and start a journey with you to learn all about this. So I'm going to share my screen now. So we'll kind of be rocking some of these things back and forth. I am nerding out a little bit. When I get excited, I talk really fast and my voice goes up and down. And so let's jump over here. Hopefully you can see me. No, we don't want to do split screen. We want to do this guy right here. So ChatGPT, right, is connected with OpenAI. Mostly, it's now connected to Bing, the search engine, and it also is connected to other third-party apps and APIs. You can now connect it into Google Sheets and all sorts of other things, connecting all of those things together, right? So when we jump into ChatGPT, there's multiple versions or iterations of the tool itself. So I'm going to slide over and just open. So when we log in to a ChatGPT to run this, and if you haven't done this, the funny part about this is most of you, if you work in education, it's probably blocked in your district, right? So you can't even get to it at work. You have to do it on your phone and then send something to yourself, or do it on a personal computer that's not on the network or whatever. And this is nothing against my district, right? They're trying to figure out what it's going to look like for teachers and kids and administrators. So they've just blocked it all together. Anyway, when we want to create a prompt, we have our prompt page here, right? And there's some key elements from what I've learned and what I've been told, and presentations that I've gone to, is that there are key ways to create prompts. You don't just want to ask it a question. This isn't like Google or Bing or Yahoo or DuckDuckGo or any of those things. It's not retrieving information that already exists. It's creating new information from all of that information. That's the idea with adaptive language, right? And this machine learning part of it. So you're going to have this option up here to pick which model you have. 3.5 is the latest free model, which is a default, right? And then ChatGPT4 is a paid model, and that's $20 a month. And you have access to just more reasoning, faster speed, and kind of more uptime. Sometimes ChatGPT goes down quite a bit. That's one of the tools that we're going to share about. So I'm going to slide through some screens and kind of give a preview. And then when you get into the recording notes at the end, you'll be able to just jump to whichever one you want. So that's the first one, right? We'll go through ChatGPT. There's some prompts that I've already created. Now, Bing AI has already adopted ChatGPT into its search engine. So you can actually search for things that you would used to be able to search for through Bing or Google, but with the backing of ChatGPT. So when you're here, it kind of has the new ChatGPT is in there. What I just found out today is it's fascinating. They've actually already connected the AI tools to the SwiftKey text boarding that you can get on Android phones. So that's something that's actually out now. And so anyway, so those of you that are on the stream, I'd love to just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and everything like that. I didn't even check that at the beginning. I probably should have, but just give me a thumbs up emoji or yes that you can hear me. I've got a whole new setup here with a digital camera, so I'm just trying to make sure that works. If you can't hear me, then just say I can't hear you, but you wouldn't be want to make sure. So I'm just going to ask in the chat. I'll send that out. So when you're in Bing Chat or Bing Search, Bing AI, it's going to be behind the search that you're there. Okay, so that's Bing. So that's one that we're going to look at. We're going to look at Bard. There's, depending on what fan you are, Bard is Google's response to ChatGPT. And Google's been doing AI for quite some time. If you notice in Google Docs or Gmail, there's the autocomplete. And so as you're typing out a sentence, it would do an autocomplete, right? It happens on the phone quite a bit now too with Apple and Android phones. That was kind of their earliest iteration of machine learning and AI and the adaptive language. Now they are pushing Bard out even further, right? And so we'll talk about what that looks like. I have access to Bard as well. Then I want to show some tools that are using AI that you can use in the classroom. And I don't necessarily want to talk about ethics today. We can talk about that another day because that's going to be an ongoing problem forever as long as I can think of. Quillbot is one that we're going to talk about. Then we're going to talk about Otter.ai, which is a phenomenal tool for special ed teachers, students, and classes that need additional accommodations and recording and notes and all of that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about that. Some of the ways that I'm thinking that could be used in the classroom. There's an app called Anki, which is an adaptive studying tool that allows students to create digital flashcards, and then it adapts to them as they're going through. So there's that one. The third one is Speechify.com. It takes pretty much any text and reads it out loud. So it's the opposite of a screen reader. It'll take the text and read it out loud to students. So again, this is a great tool for students that need accommodations, and not just students that need accommodations. This is like all students, right? If it's good for accommodations, it's good for all students, but we can talk about that later. And then the Dolly open lab, right? That you can create art from nothing, and AI will do that, right? There is a fee to some of these. Anyway, there's other art ones, but this is the one that I want to kind of talk about and show. So we're going to go through kind of those. And if you have questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I will try and come back to them and answer them. And I'm trying to pay attention to all these new things. But so let's jump into the very, very beginning. So the one that made kind of the biggest news, obviously, right? This is November, December. It comes out. ChatGPT is this machine learning, artificial intelligence that I want to make sure that I get the exact wording right. Is that it does not take current information and just regurgitate to you. It grabs all of the language and creates an entirely new phrase. I'll explain to you what this looks like, and how you could use this as a teacher or an administrator or somebody that works with students on a daily basis. So I have a list of prompts that I've already put in, and I'm actually working on a bunch of other prompts to help, and with specific groups of teachers, whether you're a special ed teacher, administrator, assistant principal. But here's kind of the method that I think about whenever I'm writing a prompt, and it doesn't matter if it's ChatGPT, if it's Bard, if it's Bing AI or something else, is I want to have a specific topic, right? So what is the topic? And I put that like at the very beginning. So like you can see here on the second screen, it says the topic is teacher clarity. So what that does is that gives a starting point to the AI. So everything that it's going to be writing about is about teacher clarity. Then what I do is I give it the information that I want to get out. All right. So I have a topic, then I have the information, and then I have a basically an audience member or who this is for. And the reason this is so important is because it is a machine learning software. It can learn sarcasm. It can learn tone. It can learn feelings and emotions. And I say that in the sense of the way that the text comes across in the results. So if you look at this prompt right here, so my topic is teacher clarity. So I'm taking on the role of a coach, a teacher leader, an assistant principal, or a principal. That's my role. That's what I am envisioning, right? And that's my real role, right, in real life, right? So it's easy for me to do that. So the topic is teacher clarity, and you can see, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. And the prompt is using the above topic, so using teacher clarity as the starting point, create a 36-week PD series of 15-minute lessons each. That's what I want. That's what I want the output to be. I want to have 36 weeks of PD for 15 minutes about teacher clarity. Okay, that's my goal. That's what I want to get out of this, right? What I also want is I want to provide lessons for a group of teachers with different experience levels and skill levels. So think about the school or the job or wherever you are, right? If you're watching this, you have teachers that have been teaching for 25 years. You have teachers that have been teaching for 5 years, 10 years, 15, 1 year. I want that PD to be stretchable across all those years of experience. I think all of us have been in a place where we're in a PD and we're like, holy crap, why do I have to learn this for the 12th time? I've been doing this for 25 years. I don't need to learn how to take attendance, right? And you wouldn't have a PD on attendance, but just hypothetically, I'm throwing that out there, right? So this is what it gave back. And I'll actually copy this. I'm going to put this right in the chat. So any prompt that I do, that I put together, I'm going to post right in the comments. So let me know if you can see that, right? So you want to separate it out, topic, teacher clarity, and then using whatever. This is what it spit out. It actually gave me an outline for the professional development. So the objective is to improve teacher clarity and instructional effectiveness in the classroom through short, targeted lessons that cater to teachers with varying experience and skill levels. Think about that. You walk into a PD, you already know what the objective is. That's something that you can give. You can give that to your teachers. So they know, like, hey, this is what we're trying to do. That's what we want to do with kids. We want kids to walk into the classroom. They want to know, can we do it? You know, what are we going to do if they don't know how to do it, right? The whole 4 models of good classroom teaching. So week 1, and it goes through. I'm not going to read all of these, right? But it's there, and it gives me, right, all of these things. And if you put this into ChatGPT, I'll share this in the comments, or maybe I'll link it in a Google Doc so you can grab all these. But this first week is we're going to introduce teacher clarity. What does teacher clarity look like? How do I define it? And why is teacher clarity so important in classroom instruction? Well, if you're a coach or an assistant principal or whoever, it doesn't really matter. You already know that, but this will help kind of guide you and keep you on track. It will help you then, you can see this 1.3, assess your current clarity level. How would you do that? I'm not going to put that into ChatGPT. That's something that me and my assistant principals or the other coaches, we're going to go in and we're going to put that in together, right? So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on all of this, but you can see this. We want to establish learning goals, develop clear lesson objectives. And it looks like my camera just bumped out. So let's see here. I'm going to switch the camera and we'll go that way. So it looks like my digital camera just turned off. But anyway, so the planning for clarity, effective questioning techniques, it's going to go through all of this, right? But the engaging, Cerritos, will you let me know? Can you hear me? I just want to make sure that I am doing all of this work, and just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. But clear and engaging explanations, and it's going to go through everything that way, right? So it goes all the way to week 10. So we've got 10 weeks. So that's 2.5 months of PD. So we've gathered all this information. And then week 11 through 36 are building workshops where teachers are given individualized instruction on how to have more teacher clarity. Obviously, there'd be some observations involved. Maybe it's teacher coaching teacher. Maybe it's administrator coaching teacher. Maybe it's up coaching. Maybe it's down coaching. Maybe it's 2 people observing somebody and they're coming back for a coaching cycle or something like that, right? That doesn't necessarily matter as far as what the building workshops are. It's the idea that it's built around that, right? So the other prompt that I wanted to go to, I'm going to shrink this back down and go back, is behavior plans. So let's say I'm a teacher that has special ed students and we're running behavior plans. We're trying to create behavior plans for a student. So here's my prompt at the top, right? My topic, again, is behavior intervention plans. That's my topic. So that's what I want it to spit out information. Those 3 of you that are watching, can I get a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me? I had to reconnect my camera, and I just want to make sure that I'm not losing audio. But you'll see here at the top, if I zoom in, this is all coming from ChatGPT and the AI. Student's name, the grade, the school, the date, targeted behaviors. These are the 3 things that I put in. So what are we going to do to target these 3 behaviors? Well, we're going to have some intervention goals. We're going to have strategies and supports, just like we would in any other sort of behavior plan. We are going to have rewards and consequences. It built this matrix for me because I asked it to. What's the behavior? What are the rewards? What are the consequences? Right? This is a bit plan to the T. Now, your structure in your district or your school might be a little bit different, but this is one way as a teacher and administrator that you could use this in your building, right? Tomorrow, you could literally take this tomorrow, and it might be better than some of the behavior plans that you already have. So, please note, right? I love this part at the bottom. The consequences should be implemented in a supportive and educational manner. The goal is to help the student understand and learn from their actions, not to punish them. And you can do this for all sorts of other things. The other one that I wanted to pull up is learner engagement. No, that's not the one. Okay, this is a great one. So again, my topic is classroom management and behavior management. And what I asked for a topic from multiple perspectives and multiple viewpoints. And this is what it spit out. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to tell you the perspectives that it gave me. Perspective 1 is an experienced teacher. Number 2 is a new teacher. Number 3, a parent. Number 4, a school administrator. Number 5, a student. This is all connected around classroom management. And the one that I did want to share, because I think it's super, it's spot on. Think about this. I like it when teachers are fair and treat everyone the same. It's hard to learn when other kids are being loud and disruptive. My favorite teacher are the ones who make class fun and interesting. So we want to pay attention. When a teacher is really good at explaining things, it's easier to behave and learn. I think teachers should give us chances to work together and have discussions so we can learn from each other too. The chat, right? The software wrote the answers to the prompts in different voices. So we have like a 12-year-old kid, we have a school administrator, and you could read the language, and it's very, education based or education heavy. And you can go to the experienced teacher, right? A little bit of sarcasm here, right? A little cynicism that you can see in that. Anyway, so this is ChatGPT kind of doing things that are beyond just like, oh, create a lesson plan for me. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Part of this whole journey and this community that I want to build together is about grabbing stuff from all of these people all over the world that are working on this together. And trying to kind of lead out, right? I've always been kind of an early adopter with stuff and failed miserably multiple times. And I want to do it again. And AI is one of the things that I want to do. Okay, so that's ChatGPT. Now I want to jump over to Bing AI. Bing AI is a little bit different, right? It's still question-based in searches, but it has the backing of kind of a powered copilot, right? So you can read about this here. You can actually get the new Bing. It's free for everybody right now. It's out. They say there's a waiting list, but it's not. There's not a waiting list. And they're literally coming out with new things every day. For example, the Android SwiftKey, I think I already said this at the beginning, but it is out. And so AI can be connected to SwiftKey on the back end. So what I did is I actually typed in some things that we were using previously. And here's the title right here: Enhanced Teacher Clarity, a 36-week professional development. This is what it spit out right here. And it actually gave me some websites that would give me answers to that direct question, right? So it's going to take me to Corwin. I'm not going to open up the window, but it'll take me to Corwin, and it'll give me a book and some research that Corwin has done about professional development and how I can do that. So it doesn't necessarily create a plan for me, but what it does is it'll go out and search the internet for things that it thinks will match my prompt. Now, I haven't spent as much time, I'll be honest with you, on Bing. I am a Chrome guy. Unfortunately, some people hate that, but I am a Chrome guy. So anyway, so that's another tool that you can use to get search. If you guys are Microsoft schools, it integrates into all of that stuff, right? The next one that I want to look at is Bard. Bard is basically Google Bard. It's bard.google.com. In order to use it, you need to be on the waiting list. You could just go to bard.google.com, type in, I want to be on the waiting list, and you'll be on the waiting list. So I put in a prompt, and this is the prompt that I gave it. And you can see here if I zoom in big enough, right? I was at a conference in San Francisco, and somebody was talking about this, and so I actually wrote this down. And I was like, hey, I'm going to throw this in a little bit later. But give me a script for a podcast between a PhD student and a middle school principal about learning in the brain. At this conference, it was in San Francisco, learning in the brain. And some of the stuff that they were talking about was just next level stuff. And I was like, oh man, it'd be fun to interview that person. And because I work with middle school kids, to talk with a PhD professor about this and go that way. Anyway, this is what it gave me. It actually gave me a back and forth between the host and the doctor, and it gave me interview questions and stuff like that. So this was good, right? But if I were to take this same prompt and throw it into ChatGPT, it would be much better on the other side, right? Bard is still in experimental stage. They're still in beta stage. They haven't pushed it out now. And Google is, asking for people to be, patient. I don't know what patient means, patient with it, I guess. But the beautiful thing about this incorporates into, and it will at some point be incorporated into search, docs, sheets, slides, forms. Think about a Google form. Just think of, if you've used Google Forms before, think about a Google form that is truly intelligent and can grab stuff, and the questions self-create themselves based on the previous answer. I know that seems kind of scary, but when I think about students and a new student comes to our school, it's really difficult for me to know where they are with everything. Science, math, English, history, where are they at? What is their skill level? If we could even just have a basic 20 question screener that's adaptive to where they're at, and it would narrow down. I know you might need more than 20 questions, but that Google form could narrow down the students' reading level, their frustration reading level, what level they're in math. So when they get to school, we can see where some of those gaps are. We don't have to wait for 2 months before we find out where all the gaps are. Like I mean, there's some ideas here that could go anyway. So this is Google Bard. Google Slides. I can already see what they're going to be doing with Google Slides. They'll be able to create pictures, and this is already happening outside of Google Slides. People are doing this. You can create entire PowerPoints now with AI generated pictures using Dolly, which I'll show you at the end. We get to there. So those of you who are watching, thank you so much. I just want to make sure that you can hear me. I've been going for a little while now, and my camera turned off in the middle. So if you could just give me a quick thumbs up or a hello or something that the sound is working. I feel like it's working, but you never know. It's not going green and stuff like that. It says to mute my mic, so I'm assuming that it's going. Anyway, okay, the next one is Quillbot. This is another AI-based tool that you can use in your classroom. And the beautiful thing about this is it's actually, let me see if I can, I'm going to trash this. I'm just going to talk, and what it's going to do is it's going to take my voice to text. And really what it's going to do is you can see that it's set up very similar to a Google Doc, but it allows me to input information using the microphone. And then I can take that information and I can insert it over into the document. Then I will have the option to paraphrase that, summarize that, beef it up, and get additional suggested text in that prompt or in that recording. So I'm going to pause here. Right here for Quillbot. I'm going to insert that into my document. You'll see down here at the bottom, if I can zoom in, I have the options to paraphrase. I have the options to summarize. I have the options to suggest new text. So this is pretty mind-blowing, right? So when I click on suggest text, it's going to gather everything I have. It's going to say, hey, you should add this. So I'm going to add that. Then what I can do is I want to summarize this. It took this big long paragraph, put it back over here, and it allows me to change the length of that summary. I can pull it into key sentences. If I want to paraphrase this, when I click on paraphrase, it's going to take the text and it's going to replay the text and remove words. But here's the beautiful part about this, right? If you see right here where it says synonyms or standard, when I click on standard, I can go for fluency and I can change the synonyms and it will change with the text right there live, right? Now it'll do spelling and all that other stuff. You can see that that's there. I don't want to spend time doing that. But it allows me to put input information, and then so I can just insert that back over here, and there's my text, right? So it's a live editing tool that can add, take away, summarize, and paraphrase. So think about students and teachers that have a hard time expressing themselves through typing, but verbally they can communicate everything that they need to. I think we've all had that, right? We've all had a student that said, you know what, I want you to come and explain to me, and then I can, if you can explain the process to me, then I'll know that you understand it. I keep looking at this camera up here, so I apologize. I'm going to see if I can get that one back on, and see if it will go. It turned off. Maybe it did. Okay, yeah, maybe just timed out. Anyway, so that's a little bit better, right? So with this, it automatically does those things while the students are typing, right? Google Docs does a little bit of that, but this is way on a whole other level for the AI to be using this. The next one is Otter AI. Fabulous tool. I've used it multiple times. Actually, there's a free version, a paid version. The Otter AI, basically what it does is it becomes a invitee in your meetings. So you can put it in Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Zoom. I have not tried yet live in a classroom yet. I want to. But essentially what it will do is it will transcribe the entire meeting. It will pull out keynotes, and it will pull out text images that are important that happened in that meeting. So in my mind, the great application for this is an IEP that's being held, right? Whether it's over Zoom or Google Meet or whatever. I don't have to take notes anymore. I can focus on the meeting. I can be present in the meeting instead of taking notes, and I can help the student and the parent create a plan or accommodations or goals that are going to help grow and help that student achieve. Meanwhile, in the background, Otter AI is taking all of those notes for me, and it automatically emails all of the meeting attendees after the meeting is over. It'll give them a summary of everything that happened in the meeting. So for legal reasons, right? Legal, both to protect the parent, the student, and the school, everything that everybody talked about is in the notes. It's literally right there. And then it'll pull images, screenshots of whatever presentation was given in the meeting, which is it's awesome, right? I mean, I've done it with some of my PLC meetings. Again, I think I said earlier, I work in a virtual school, so a lot of our meetings are virtual. It pulled all of those notes together. I didn't have to take notes. I could focus on being present in the meeting. That's just one way that I thought of. Another way, think about those students that you have in your classroom who have difficulty staying up when we're taking notes or doing things. You could have Otter AI be a computer in the room. You're presenting whatever it is that you're presenting. It's recording all of your voice, everything that you're teaching, all the comments, all the questions that are happening from the kids. It automatically summarizes the meeting or the class for that day and shoots a summary over to the kids. And so instead of the kids trying to do notes down here and staying focused up on there and, you know, being distracted from this over here and all the things that are going on, it's all done for them right then. And it just comes in an email. Another beautiful thing about that is that the parents get the notes. You can email it straight to the parent. The parent gets the notes of everything that happened that day in class, right? It's amazing. You no longer have to have another student take the notes and do that. So this is Otter AI, right? There's more than these, right? I mean, there's hundreds, and there's more coming out all the time. There's actually a database of all of these different tools, and there's so many coming out. Like I get stressed out trying to look and follow all of them. Anyway, so this is Otter AI. The next one that I want to show you is Anki. It's an app. I didn't download it because I would have had to integrate my phone into this, but basically what you can do is pre-program uh, flip flashcards, right? And it will automatically um, start to adjust to the user, right? So imagine AI with vocabulary and images together. It will go through and start to remove the words that the students don't understand, or intensify the words that they don't understand, so they can get more practice, right? So whether it's a visual, it's open source, people are using it for all sorts of stuff. You can add audio clips, you can add images, you can add videos, you can add scientific markup tools to your cards. So it is really cool as far as what this tool specifically can do, not only for kids in the classroom, but at home. I mean, think about kids creating their own flashcards and then sharing them with each other, and then throwing them in the app, and the kids all doing them at home on their Chromebook or on their computer or on their phone, and then they're rating, right? So, I mean, think about this as an activity just on the fly. All of these kids are creating flashcards, and everybody comes back and says, okay, I want everybody to pick their one favorite flashcard. So you got 30 kids in a class, they all come back, you take the 30 best flashcards, you have a whole set of flashcards for everybody in your school or your grade to learn whatever concept it is that you're learning about. Maybe it's you know characterization or plot, or the Earth's crust and the core, whatever it is. There's a lot of different ways that you could use that, and it's not just the kids being consumers; they're being creators, and that's super important for kids, right? To be creators, not just consumers of this content, right? There's plenty of ways for them just to consume things. I really want to push them into creating them. So that's Anki. And I'll link all of these down below in the timestamps when I go back and do the timestamps after. So don't worry about taking notes or whatever. I'll have all of that there. And the nice thing is it's being recorded and it'll be published on the channel, so you can leave comments and ask questions later. So the next one is Speechify. What I'm going to do is, let me go back and grab some text. I did this way on purpose. So we're back here. I want to, let's see, play text in an audible voice that will play anything back. And the cool thing is you can pick the voice that you want. And the first one is none other, let me turn up the volume, than Snoop Dogg. So here you go. This is not Snoop Dogg actually reading this, right? This is an AI generated voice that is reading stuff back in Snoop Dogg's voice. So I have the option here. I can go Gwyneth Paltrow. Let's just go there. So you have the ability to speed it up, slow it down. You can change, obviously, other voices, natural voices. There's a premium trial and all that stuff. This is not free. I do believe that is an extension that adds into Google Voice. And I want to say, anyway, so you can change the voice to whatever you want. Anyway, it's just a really, really cool tool that you could read things back to kids. Novels, short stories. I know teachers, myself included, that have read entire books on YouTube and cut them up into clips so that students could go listen to the book because it wasn't available for all the students. I did it when I taught 9th grade with Fahrenheit 451. I wanted to add some additional stuff. This will do it automatically when you put the text in, right? This is not a free tool. The last tool that I want to talk about this week, and again, hopefully I get a bunch of suggestions from those of you that are watching and listening and all that stuff, is Dolly. There's multiple art ones out there. Midjourney is another huge one, right, that a lot of people are using. We can talk about that, but this one does cost money. And essentially what it does, from my basic understanding, is it takes pixels, it takes images, deconstructs the images into individual pixels, separated them out, then it reconstructs all of those pixels into an original picture. That's simplifying it for a bit, but that's my understanding of these AI art tools. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll down. I'll put the link here in the chat so you can kind of go there and look at that. So there's that. So this first picture with the fish in the fishbowl. I would like a 3D render of a cute tropical fish in an aquarium on a dark blue black background digital art. This is what it created. You have your color schematics down here at the bottom, right? Your signature here. Here's this one. An expressive oil paint. I can read. An expressive oil painting of a basketball player dunking, depicted as an explosion of a nebula. This is what I came up with. Now you can see there's some kind of wonky stuff right here with the arm. It's a little bit whatever, but a photo of a white fur monster standing in a purple room. This is generated by AI. Every pixel has been deconstructed and then reconstructed back from something else. Now, as I scrolled through this, you can start to see this one looks realistic. A futuristic neon lit cyborg face. You can even see the teeth underneath there, right? Anyway, so we don't need to spend a ton of time on these. Some of these are very realistic. A photo of Michelangelo's sculpture of David wearing headphones. That's a reconstructed image, right? This looks very, very, very similar to some of the Mac screensavers from 3 or 4 years ago, right? So it's pretty fascinating there. Anyway, so you can go through and just explore all of the things, right? Anyway, so as we get back to the very beginning, we started off with ChatGPT. I'm just going to review really quick. ChatGPT, we went to Microsoft Edge, we went to Google Bard, we went to, I forgot what this was, Quillbot, Otter AI, Anki, Speechify, and Dolly. Those are just a handful of the ones that I wanted to go over this week. Really, what I want to do long-term is I want to create a community around education, whether that's charter, home, public, private, school, and AI and education, and how we can do it in a positive way. I said at the beginning that we are generally a reactionary field. We wait until the problems happen and then we react to them. I don't know if at the rate that these things are changing, that we are going to be able to react fast enough to what is going to happen. And again, it's only been 5 months and we're already on the 4th iteration of ChatGPT, and it's absolutely phenomenal. And I'm assuming 5 will come out and then 6 will come out, and it'll just keep going. But at the bottom line of all of this, right, if you're watching still to the end, is that the article I read, this is kind of what stirred all of this last week. There are companies looking for prompt engineers or prompt librarians. And essentially, these are really, really, really well-versed, well-knowledgeable people writing prompts for companies to gain more customers, to make more money, to create more influence, whatever your company is. So, having said that, there's a company willing to pay somebody $300,000 a year to be a prompt engineer, right? And that's somebody that probably works on the back end with the prompts to make those prompts spit out information that they want. But think about this, right? If you're Nike, this is the example that I've been thinking about for the past week. You have somebody that goes on to Nike.com, wants to create their own shoe. So let's just say it's the Air Force Ones. The student says, or the person buying the shoes says, I want to have these 3 colors. I want to have it be this size, this whatever, and basically gives it a description. That information is spit into Nike's algorithm with ChatGPT or whatever other AI formula. It spits back out a one-of-a-kind shoe. One-of-a-kind shoe. It's an Air Force One. It's custom. Whether it's graffiti paint, whether it's different stitching, whether it's checkered on the Nike sign, I mean, all the different things that you can think of that people are doing customized. On the back end, there's going to have to be an engineer that takes that prompt and puts it into a machine so that the stitching and the colors and all that stuff can come out. Nike could sell, and they do, right, custom shoes to the masses. And people are willing to pay for them because they have a one-of-a-kind shoe. They're no longer buying the 1998 black and red Jordans, right, or whatever. They're buying the 2027 Jordans that are signature Spencer, right? I mean, you can see like just companies are looking for all this kind of stuff. And so when it comes back to our students, when I look at stuff like this, we are not necessarily always preparing our students for jobs that don't exist. This job that I was telling you about did not exist 5 months ago. That's when ChatGPT came out. It's 5 months ago. That job did not exist. There's other jobs that are being created right now that we need to prepare our kids for. And I'm not talking about, ethics and cheating and all that kind of stuff. That we can figure that some of that stuff out, right? But it's about the complex ideas and the critical thinking skills that our students need to move into those positions. We've been talking about this since Web 2.0 came out, right? This is probably Web 3.0 or 3.5, whatever you want to call it. This is going to open up a whole new thing. There's going to be a lot of problems too, right? I can definitely see some negative sides of some things, right? When you start creating and customizing individual things, there's definitely some dark roads that you could go down with that. And so instead of trying to avoid it, try to block it, try to get it out there, we need to continue to teach our students digital literacy and how to do things in an honest fashion, right? And all those things. I won't get into the whole lecture, but that's one of the things that we need to do. So I hope that if you're watching this, that you will come back. It's something that I want to do regularly. I do want to eventually build a community around this, and I am not an expert. I literally spent about 3 hours trying to find all this stuff. That's it. That is it. I'm reading more now. It's something that's interesting to me. It's something that is fulfilling this like creative juice that I have. And I want to share that with other teachers and administrators and educators around the world. And I hope that they want to share it back to me. And so as this kind of moves forward, I don't know how this community is going to look, but I have a previous community at mrcampbellrocks.com that has, people that are follow me for other things. And I figured I would start here. And if it goes well, we can move it someplace else. But I just want to thank you for being here. If you have individual questions, please leave a comment below. I will answer them. I respond to every comment, maybe not every day. And I really hope to see you back next week. And hopefully you have questions and stuff like that. I'm going to leave it open for about 2 minutes to see if anybody has questions, and we will go from there. I probably don't have answers, to be honest. I probably don't have answers. But you can ask questions and it'll show up in the comments. While we're here, that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab every single one of the links and put it in the comments that we talked about today. And so everybody will have access to them. Let's see, is the Bing search. And maybe 9 o'clock at night is not great for the East Coast, which is fine. But let's see here. Okay, so we posted a bard.google. We're going to do Quillbot. I'm posting some of the links so you guys have access to them, these tools. And there are other tools that I think that probably do some of the things better. These are the ones that I just felt were the easiest to present and share. At some point, I would like to get into the roots of how machine learning works. And so there's not a lot of books out there yet. I've been looking kind of everywhere for them. And I cannot find them. And so those there. And Open Labs, we're going to add this one here. Again, these are just beginning sites that you can use to kind of explore what AI is, what machine learning is, and go from there. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. If this brought you value, please share it with other people. And I mean, the followers, cool, great. I don't care. But if you really found value in this, share it with other teachers, share it with administrators. I really want to build a community about this. So email me, send me questions, send me ideas. That's what I really need. I need other people that are using this to help contribute to this. If you're willing to be a guest, jump on and you can show me your favorite tools that you're using or how you're using something. I would absolutely love to have people come on and just show what they're doing and how they're doing it. So that would be amazing. So this is kind of the call out to everybody. Hey, come and show us what you got. So this will be the end of the video. I love you. I truly do appreciate what you do for kids on a daily basis, no matter what your role is in education. Kids are better because you're there. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard. I know for the most part we're underpaid. But you matter to a kid at your school. Thanks for being here.